previously on the Senna career. This is it, the first race of the season. You guys have been waiting for this for so long, but it is 5 lights and away we go for the Senna career, and he comes across the line to get P4. 12 points for McLaren. The lights are coming on and it's 5 lights and away we go. The lights were not on for long at all. And Senna may try and go down the inside of the Red Bull driver. Has he done so going into turn 4? Yes, he has. Pretty good traction for the McLaren driver. Just 8 tenths behind Ricciardo now, but there are some back markers in the way that we've got to negotiate going down into turn 1. And Ricciardo tried to go past, but he lost his front wing. And that is surely it for the Red Bull driver. I'm sure Senna will still be shaking from it, but all that means is that Senna takes his first podium of the 2014 season. What's up guys, and welcome to Canada today for the Canadian Grand Prix, and it's round number 3 of the F1 2014 Senna career. And there we are, jumping back into Ayrton's McLaren for the 3rd time this season. And thanks so much for that awesome response on the last video, guys, in Bahrain. Really does mean a lot, and let's be honest, the podium last time out couldn't have harmed either, could it? But there we go, we've got our tyre wear upgrade, supposedly improved by 10%. I mean, we'll have to see how that goes during the race, but at least we have got an upgrade on the car for the first time this season. But yeah, without further ado, now let's get into qualifying. Qualifying was underway for the 3rd time in this season from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, and the back of the field was once again comprised of the Marussias and Caterhams. They'll line up from 22nd up to 19th on the grid, with Kamui Kobayashi and the Caterham the standout performer. But Ayrton Senna once again breezed through Q1 on the prime tyres, one of the quickest in the session, but there we see the eliminated drivers from Q1, with Adrian Sutil being eliminated for the first time. But Q2 once again saw Kimi Raikkonen and Sergio Perez struggle. They were eliminated in 11th and 12th, with the Mercedes drivers stretching their legs along with the McLaren of Senna. He topped the session for the first time this season, and there are your eliminated drivers from Q2. Raikkonen and Perez joining the 2 Toro Rossos and the remaining Lotus and Sauber drivers. Q3 saw a non-Mercedes driver on pole for the first time this season, and believe it or not, Ayrton Senna took pole in a fantastic lap, which in fact saw him 1/10 down on his previous best after one sector, but after being just 1/1000th of a second outside Lewis Hamilton's pole time after the second sector, it was immediately evident that he nailed this final sector when he came across the line and took pole by over 3/10 of a second, ahead of Hamilton and Massa in 3rd position. Rosberg was down in 4th, whilst Senna's teammate Button was in 10th. Disappointing days for Ricciardo and Bottas, but there we see Ayrton Senna taking his first pole of this season for the McLaren team, and let's see whether he can hold on to that lead and take the victory in Canada. Well, after that enthralling qualifying session, it is now time for the race. And jumping into the McLaren, it is once again a dry race. Obviously, in the past, there have been a few wet races in Canada, but not the case today, which is fortunate for Senna, well, he's got on pretty well in the dry so far this season. But getting into the setup now, as you can see, starting from pole position. This setup, to be honest, was pretty good in qualifying. So, you know, over the one lap, it was proving to be good, but the question was, will it be able to do it over a full race distance? That will be proved over the next 35 laps, and there is proof that our upgrade has come. Only 3 upgrades will be coming over the course of this season. But anyway, going on to the setup now, and well, you know, it's like I say, you know, we're not going to be changing many things this season. Going option, prime option for the 3rd time this season. Hopefully it serves us well, and now it's time to get out onto the racetrack for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Awesome qualifying, Ayrton. We've had the pace all weekend, so let's try and aim for another podium. Come on.
Yep, our engineer is confident once again of a podium finish, or at least, you know, it's a target for Senna. But, well, going out onto the grid now and seeing that famous yellow helmet back on pole position alongside Lewis Hamilton, who obviously he idolises, but nonetheless we're going to get into the race now, and the lights are coming on for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix going into lane mix, and it's 5 lights and we are away for the Canadian Grand Prix here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and Hamilton gets an awesome start, already jumping Senna into turn 1, but can the Brazilian counteract that move going into the 1st and 2nd turns, going back into lane mix to get some good traction out of this corner, and it does look as if Senna has got the move done. He's got the racing line going into the chicane, getting the move done on Hamilton and maintaining P1 surprisingly. Seeing as obviously we had an absolutely dreadful start, but nonetheless he looks as if he's out of DRS range already from Hamilton. So if he can keep that going throughout sort of the next few laps, now we are on to lap 3. And look at that, Pastor Maldonado setting the quickest lap of the race. Who'd have thought it? And, well, it looks as if Hamilton is right on a gearbox as Rosberg is having an absolute shocker. He's 4.5 seconds off ourselves, but we run wide, and Lewis Hamilton has taken Senna's position. And, well, he's going to look to try and get that move back because, obviously, Senna will be getting the DRS. The DRS detection point came after the move had been done. So if Senna can get a good exit off here, which it doesn't look like he has, Hamilton is really going for it at the moment. And it looks as if he's going to try and bolt away, but Senna in the DRS zone, and he's gaining and gaining with that Honda engine, 20 more horsepower than the the Mercedes engine of Hamilton. But getting back onto the DRS, this second straight doesn't look as effective, although it is gaining slightly on Hamilton. It is not enough, and well, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mercedes driver sort of bolts away over the next few laps, as the traction off that corner has been poor all day and all weekend, as it has off this corner. This is an absolute killer at the start of Sector 2, and Daniel Ricciardo has made the move on Senna. Is he maybe going to try and go around the outside? Lovely move from Senna, counteracting that, and well, it says we've caused a collision, but as you can see on the replay, we made absolutely no contact here. Once again, it proves that we made no contact, but nonetheless, we got the move done, and Valtteri Bottas was hot on our gearbox coming lap 9, and it looks like the pit stop phase is going to be coming sooner rather than later as Senna goes up into rich mix, but Bottas is going to get past the Brazilian for P2. And now let's see what the team have got to say about that move.
Alright, let's try and stay with him. Give it 100% this lap.
Well, yeah, they want us to absolutely go for it as we come to lap 10 now. And, well, staying behind Bottas, but we've lost a part of our front wing, and Senna is not going to be happy about that. And now, coming towards the pit stop phase, that is Bottas losing his front wing. So Bottas and Senna both losing sections of the front wing.
Box, box, box. Prime tightens the stint, so we need to take them as far as we can. We think the guys around us are going for the options.
Yep, going for the primes on this stint. And it's interesting because a lot of drivers, as has been proven through the course of the season, like to go primes on the final stint. But Senna and the McLaren team sort of like to prioritise getting that prime stint out of the way in the middle stint. And also, I find that that going with those primes in the middle stint, sort of, oh my word, we've been held up in the pits, and that's a 7.3 second pit stop. And, well, that was an awful stop, but nonetheless, we haven't lost any positions, and Senna will rejoin in 7th. But as I was saying, getting those primes out of the way in the middle stint can sort of be a little bit advantageous because, you know, if the primes do end up being a little bit better than the options, then obviously the team can adapt and go with the primes in the final stint. So Senna will have to see how that goes, and skipping on to lap 12 now. And it looks as if that's Nico Rosberg, is it, coming out of the pits as he cuts the corner slightly. Rosberg has jumped Senna in the pits, and that pit stop, which was a good 3 or 4 seconds longer than normal, although we did have the front wing change obviously, but it has proved costly for Senna, who is now being hounded once again by Daniel Ricciardo. Right on the Brazilian's gearbox, and is the Australian going to try and get the move done into the final chicane? It looks as if he's gaining even with that Renault engine, and going into the final chicane. Is Senna going to hold it? Yes, he does, and Ricciardo bounces over the curb. We're going to get a replay of that now, and as you can see, Ricciardo bouncing over the curb. Wow, that was very interesting to say the least. He didn't get the move done, if you well, didn't notice that. But come lap 18, this is the corner where we can get absolutely no traction, and been passed by Ricciardo, and Senna is now going to be passed by his teammate, surely. Jenson Button looking to get a slice of the action. He's on the option tyres, and it'll be interesting to see whether the team have got something to say about that. Senna's really struggling, as you can see, having to cut that chicane just a tad, and Button now right on the gearbox of Senna. And I'm sure the McLaren team are going to be shouting over the team radio to get Jenson past, because it's really losing him time to Ricciardo, and it's an opportunity for Jenson to try and get that 4th place. But Senna, of course, on the prime tyres, as I've said many times. But is the Brit going to get the move done? No, he doesn't. And come lap 19, once again, you can see Ricciardo was bolted. Surely the team have got something to say about this.
Okay, Ayrton, we won't see that Jensen through. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, and as we come down the back straight, coming into the DRS zone, it's surely going to be a routine pass for Jensen now. And yes, Senna does indeed let him pass. It's a shame, as the team said, you know, apologising over the radio. But some things have just got to be done, unfortunately, and Senna has had to relinquish his 5th position. And Jensen Button will now, hopefully for the McLaren team's sake, bolt off into the distance and try and stay with Daniel Ricciardo. But going on to the end of lap 20 now, and Button has come into the pit lane, so that's going to be interesting to see whether he can come out in some clean air. Senna does have a bit of clean air, although, you know, he's just been struggling all race long, just losing positions with a lack of traction, which is pretty mind-boggling, seeing as that setup that you saw earlier, it was sort of catered towards sort of a high traction, if you like. But, well, we've got Max Chilton, I believe, behind us now. He's looking for a slice of the action, although he's a lapped car, looking to try and get past, which would be very interesting. And I think that just about sums up Senna's day, to be honest. Starting from pole position, was looking so promising, but is that Valtteri Bottas in the pit lane? I believe it is, for his final stop of the afternoon, although he's going to have to try and take those tyres 11 laps. Senna with a slightly damaged front wing again, I believe, just clipping it on the barrier at the end of the hairpin, which slingshots onto the straight. But maintaining this P3 at the moment, and well, just not getting any traction out of this corner, out of the second chicane on the circuit. And is he going to have to relinquish that position? No, he isn't. And lap 25, the tyres are absolutely gone, and Senna will not be able to wait for this next set of tyres to go onto the car. The final pit stop of the afternoon, and the McLaren guys once again are going to have to replace a front wing. This realistic damage mod, of course, that we've got installed on setting 3, which is, I believe, medium. It's very much harsh, or it's harsh enough anyways. You get quite a nice view of that front wing there with the number 12 on the front wing. Obviously, Senna's number for the season is number 12. And coming out of the pit lane for the final time this weekend, bar any mishaps, let's see what the team have got to say about the final stint.
Come on, mate. Let's go and get Hulkenberg. He's ours for the taking.
Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg has found a bit of pace in that middle stint and has managed to jump Senna into P6. But hopefully the McLaren will be able to sort of gain. And as you can see, 3.8 is that behind Hulkenberg. I can't quite read the exact timing, but the gap is most certainly coming down. And come the end of lap 28, it's down to 2.2 seconds. And already on lap 31, I believe Hulkenberg has got stuck behind some back markers, and Senna has been pumping in the lap times, doing a 1:15.7, which is one of, if not the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, right on the gearbox of Hulkenberg, who I believe is going to get DRS. So as of yet, Senna is not going to feel the full effects and advantages of that DRS due to Hulkenberg also having it, but it's not going to harm, is it? One bit for Senna having it, gaining, but the straight is just not quite long enough. Hopefully Senna will be able to set up the move for the next lap, or maybe even now as he's hanging in the slipstream of Hulkenberg, who also has DRS, going into turn 1, maybe having a look down the inside, but thinking better of it. Obviously, still another 3 or 4 laps left in this Grand Prix. And just like magic, we go back onto the back straight, the first DRS zone on the circuit, and Senna will open that DRS flap now. Hulkenberg not having the luxury of DRS, and surely this is going to be a routine pass for P6. Senna has done so well to hunt that Force India down, and showed so much pace in this final stint, which is a shame that he just could not do it on the prime tyres. Those prime tyres really did knock Senna for 6. You know, that middle stint was so painful. 6.7 seconds behind Button with just 3 laps to go. And Lewis Hamilton took out the race victory, and Senna just could do absolutely nothing to try and catch his teammate as he kicks onto -1 lap of fuel with just 1 corner to go. But coming round the final corner, it's not been all bad this weekend. Another double points finish for McLaren and 18 points on the board. Not maybe quite the result that Senna wanted, having started on pole position, but showing a lot of pace in that final stint surely did encourage him for the next race in Austria. And there is the race classification. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg once again taking a 1-2 for Mercedes, with Valtteri Bottas making up the final podium position. He'll be very, very pleased with that. Daniel Ricciardo takes 4th position for the Red Bull team, with Button and Senna taking P5 and 6. Hulkenberg just couldn't hold Senna off. He finished off P7 with Hulkenberg in 8th. Perez in 8th. And there we go. Adrian Sutil, after an awful qualifying, in fact got 9th place, so he must be happy with that. Massa, Vettel, Alonso and Bianchi all didn't finish the race. So it was a race of attrition, most certainly. And Vettel and Alonso and Massa, notably, will be very disappointed with that. I believe Massa would have finished in front of us if he had have finished the race. But there you go, Senna moving down to 4th in the Drivers' Championship. Unfortunate, but actually, were we? I think we were ahead of Ricciardo in the last round. But still maintaining P2 in the championship, I believe. I'm not quite sure what the standings were after Bahrain, but I do believe that they have stayed pretty similar. Obviously, 18 points on the board for McLaren. But Senna very much disappointed with that result, so it shows the expectation of the McLaren team. And you never know, next time out might be a little bit better in Austria, a track that Senna very much likes. It's got to be said. And make sure you do join me next time for the Austrian Grand Prix. And as you can see, it's a wet practice session. Will it be a wet weekend? Well, you'll have to see then. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I most certainly enjoyed recording, editing, and commentating it. If we get over 130 likes for the 4th consecutive episode, that would be awesome. But make sure you guys join me next time in Austria. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.